What is going on, everyone? This morning I'm going to go through a quick review of the Giant Mouse Ace Reo. This one was actually named for an area in Michigan right by the Giant Mouse HQ, where they've become very much familiar with and enjoy quite a bit for the dive bars. I'm just going to go over the specs real quick. So this one has an overall length of 7.94 inches. Got the handle length of 4.6, leaving the blade for 3.325. It is a liner lock on bearings. It's extremely comfortable, by the way. But the blade steel is CPM MagnaCut with a thickness of 0.125, so it's a very slicey blade. It only weighs about 2.7 ounces. It is super light. You can feel that lightweight. Feels incredible in the hand. And I have come to really enjoy this one. As soon as I put it in my hand, I first saw this, by the way, at Blade Show East. I wasn't expecting it, so it was kind of a shock when I got there and saw that they had this one there. But it reminded me of the Sonoma, and that one is a great comparison. As you can see, it's almost identical. A lot of little differences, but size-wise, it's a good comparison. Oh, also, just so you can see, this one, the Reo does come with a wire clip, and it is reversible. But just so you can see a comparison, because I have the old and new deep carry Giant Mouse clips, this one being the new one on the right. Anyway, okay, so getting back to the Reo, I love the one point that I loved aesthetically is they had a polished brass backspacer. That was the first time that they had that. I don't even know if they've done it again as of yet, but I can tell you that I did enjoy that, as well as, once again, just like they did in the yacht, they only have the one body screw, which makes maintaining this knife incredibly simple, quick and simple, I should say. I love the elongated blade, and there's no question they've now come out with a couple of versions of knives in the Ace line that are very snappy, but this was one of the first ones that came out. When you got it, you realize, okay, we're working with something different here. It's just that much snappier. You can use your thumb. I can use my pointer finger. I can go through it and literally deploy this with every single finger. No issues whatsoever. Like I said, I've had this since Blade Show East last year, so it's been about 6 months. And I've put this through its paces, man. I've cut everything with this knife, and I'll include some of that in the video at the end. But a great thing about the CPM MagnaCut, and I don't know if it's just this knife and the edge geometry for this blade, but there was a time where I went through, I want to say like 12, 15 different boxes that I cut up, and usually cardboard will take the sharpness right out of a blade, but this one went through it without any problems. It was still just as sharp afterwards, which is great. The ergonomics are great. I always wish that they would include a finger choil. If I'm being brutally honest, and I know maybe I'm in the minority here, but I think every single blade should have a finger choil. I don't think it takes anything away, and it can only make things more comfortable if you're going to choke up. But either way, once again, you have the forward style jimping up here. It's pretty aggressive, so when I'm putting all the pressure on the jimping here, it's not going to slide. But it really is a pretty great blade. I would say that I've had this in pocket at least a total of a couple months, and I've done a great deal of work with it. Never had any issues with it whatsoever. I love the satin finish, and this one does come in a black micarta as well. It's just, like I said, I've had a ton of fun with it, and I can't look. I think there's probably 3 things that we look for, or more than that, when we buy a knife. We like to look at the aesthetic of it, and obviously if it's a popular knife, we're going to go after it because that's what we do as knife collectors or someone who enjoys EDC. But in any case, if you're looking for something that has that fidget factor, this is definitely one of those knives. It just sounds great. It pops open. I have this tightened up pretty well, so the drop down action isn't that great right now. I have to really snap it to get it closed, but I purposely did that because I had a couple of jobs I was using it for and I wanted it tighter. I don't know if you guys do that, but depending on the job, I always work with the pivot. So if I'm just carrying it as an EDC and I might want to flick it and mess around with it and use it when necessary, I'll usually keep the pivot a little bit loose. But if I know that I have a job upcoming and I'm going to use it quite a bit, I'll make sure that the pivot is tightened down. I think it just works better for me. But yeah, that's it. It's just a great knife. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but if you were on the fence and you weren't sure about buying it, I would definitely grab this one. Hopefully everyone was able to grab, I'm sure everyone was able to grab an XL Biblio as well. But I know there's a couple of other great knives coming up around the corner. But I will go ahead and add in, like I said, some cutting video so you guys can see this in action with wood and some cardboard, I believe. Other than that, thanks again for coming back, listening to the review. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully they're helpful. And if you haven't already and you've watched a couple of my videos, please subscribe. I really would appreciate it. All right. Thanks so much, guys.